Your Excellency, the Vice President, Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, Principal Officers of the National Assembly, distinguished Senators and Honorable Members, House of Representatives, Executive Governors here present, all former legislators here present, the National Chairman of All Progressive Congress, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Honorable Ministers here present, Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Clerk of the National Assembly, all senior government officials, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. With profound honor, I stand before this joint session of our National Assembly, a parliament that embodies the will of Nigerian people. Today, as I enter this grand edifice built from the sweat and toil of our democratic yearning, my heart stirred. It was a blend of accomplishment and resolve. I felt a sense of collective accomplishment when I realized how far we had come as a nation. Since 1999, democracy has risen from the ashes and destitution of military rule to take its original rightful place as the only mode of governance of resilient and beloved people. With every footstep I took through this hallowed hall, up to the moment I now stand before you, I remember that we still have so much and a lot for that to go. To achieve this progress, we sought an elective office to lead this nation forward. Thus, I hereby affirm before you, our merciful and almighty God, and all men, and resolve to do all that I could do to safeguard and build our democracy as the divine hand intend for us to do. Since 2018, we have celebrated Democracy Day on this day to commemorate the sacrifices of the men and women who fought to restore democratic governance to Nigeria. Let me pay tribute to my predecessor, a former President Muhammadu Buhari, for reaching back into history to rectify a national misdeed by making June 12th Democracy Day and by officially acknowledging Chief MKO Abiola and his running mate Babagana Kingibe as the victors and the duly elected president and vice president, respectively, of Nigeria after June 12, 1993 election. Year by year, election after election, every time we debate instead of battle, we discuss instead of fight, and argue instead of destroy. We preserve the institution of democracy. More importantly, we weave the culture of democracy into very fabric of our nation. We thank God for this.
Hello there, good evening, and thanks for joining us on Political Lens. I'm Chukuma Okoro. Now, we listened to the president. That is part of the speech that the president made this afternoon on the floor of the National Assembly, addressing Nigerians on a Democracy Day. Now, Nigeria has practiced 26 years of uninterrupted democracy. What we read is part of the highlights of what the president said today about how enduring our democracy has become, the works of our founding fathers and the people that made sacrifices for the democracy you and I enjoy and take for granted today. But in all of that, something stood out today, and that is our focus for this program. And it is that, look, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu this afternoon, that is Thursday, June 12, 2025, granted pardon and conferred posthumous national honors on Ken Saro-Wiwa, Commander of the Federal Republic of the Order of the Niger, CON, the leader of the Ogoni 9, and his fellow travelers, Sunday Dobe, OON, Nordu Eawo, OON, Daniel Boko, OON, Paul Levera, OON, Felix Noate, OON, Barry Bobera, OON, Barinem Kobel, OON, and John Buine, OON. The president announced this in his address at the joint session of the National Assembly in commemoration of Democracy Day 2025. He equally conferred posthumous national honors on Kudirat Abiola, that is the wife of MKO Abiola, as heroine of the June 12 struggle. Several other heroes of the struggle and legendary journalist, newspaper publisher Sam Amokapemu, popularly known as Uncle Sam. Well, the relevant part of his address reads, and I start to read it now. As we mark a 26th year of unbroken democracy, it is right to honor those who have made sacrifices in the past, braving all the odds and the goals to ensure we have a regime of democracy in our country. In this light, I announce the conferment of the posthumous national honor of CFR, Commander of the Federal Republic, on Kudirat Abiola, the heroine of the June 12 struggle. I also confer posthumous national honors on Shehu Musa Yaradua, GCFR, Professor Humphrey Wosu, CON, Rear Admiral Ndubisikano, CON, Alhaji Balarabe Musa, CFR, Pa Alfred Rwane, CFR, Bagudu Kalto, OON. Very interesting. Now, Chima Obani, OON, Dr. Beko Ransom Kuti, CON, Alao Akawa Bashorun, CON, Chief Frank Kori, CON, Emma Ezazo, OON, Bamidele Aturu, OON, Frederick Fashewu, CON, Professor Festus Iyayi, CON, Dr. John Yima, Sen, OON, Alhaja Shawaba Gambo, CON, Dr. Edwin Madanagu, CON, Dr. Alex Ibru, CON, Chief Bola Ige, CFR, Pa Ruben Fasoranti, CFR, Senator Ayo Fasami, CON, Senator Polycarp Muite, CON, and Dr. Nuruddin Owolopopo, CON. I also confer national honors on Professor Wole Soyinka, GCON, Professor Olatunji Dare, CON, journalist and journalism teacher Kule Ajibade, OON, Nosa Igiebo, OON, Dapo Oloriyomi, OON, Bayo Ononoga, that's the presidential spokesperson, CON, Ayo Obe, OON, Darebe Barensa, CON, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, CON, Senator Shehu Sani, CON, Governor Obasani, CON, Barrister Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, CON, Professor Shafidin Amuwo, CON, Barrister Luke Ahanenu, OON, Senator Tokumbo Afikiyomi, CON, Honorable Labaran Maku, OON, Dr. Tunji Alausa, CON, Mr. Nick Dazang, OON, Honorable Abdul Oro, OON, Odia Ofei Mum, CON, Sheike in the OON, Barrister Felix Moka, CON, that's the spokesperson of the APC, Barrister Ledu Mite, CON. Barrister Ledu Mite was actually one of the Ogoni 10 and he was spared. That is how they became Ogoni 9. Honorable Olawale Oshun, CON, Dr. Emos Akimba, CON, Professor Shegun Badagesin, CON, Mobalaji Akinyemi, CFR, Dr. Kayode Shonoiki, CON, Professor Julius Ihonvere, CON, Professor Bayo Williams, CON, Senator Abu Ibrahim, CFR, and Senator Ame Ebute, CFR. Additionally, I conferred the national honor of CON Uncle Sam Ameku Apemu. I announced that before, a legendary journalist and publisher who remains true to his lifetime calling as he marks his 90th birthday tomorrow, June 13. Furthermore, I also confer posthumous national honors on Ken Saro-Wiwa, CON. Okay, now we mentioned all of that before. Well, I'm joined in the studio here by Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. He witnessed all of this, the 26 years of our democracy. Within that period, he was both reporter, managing editor, managing director of leadership newspapers. He worked in the Guardian for so many years. So he is his history, so he is going to tell us a lot of what happened within those 26 years of our democracy and more. Good evening, Dele Fanimo, and thanks for having you.
Good
thanks
evening.
for coming to.
It's my pleasure.
Anytime. It's a pleasure to have you. Okay. We'll also be joined virtually by an Ogoni activist who is speaking from us, who will speak from us to us from Port Harcourt there in Rivers State, where all of the things that happened about the Ogoni 13 happened. He is going to join us in the course of the show. Oh, well, Dele, let's start. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today pardoned environmentalist and social crusader Kedu Saro-Wiwa and the Ogoni 9, and what people have received with mixed feelings. Actually, it's supposed to be Ogoni 13. You recall what happened to the 4 people and then the other 9. So, Ogoni people have summed it up as Ogoni 13. What's the pulse? I mean, if you are here, will you be able to feel the pulse and reaction of the Ogoni people to this pardon and conferment of national honors on these Ogoni sons who were tried and killed by a military tribunal, adjudged to have been orchestrated to silence the Ogoni people from the agitation for equity in the distribution of oil resources, which is their mainstay in their environment? What's your broad reaction to the pardon?
As a matter of fact, this posthumous award is like opening a wound that is almost healing. And it's quite sad. Maybe this thing should have been allowed to pass without bringing it back to the consciousness of those who did not partake in that charade. And also, for those of us who are keenly following what happened at that time, it's a kind of trying to open the wound that was already healing, if it has not healed totally. It's sad and really excruciating to recall the events that happened at that time. 4 people were accused of sabotaging and betraying the Ogoni land.
The Ogoni cause, yes.
And they were rounded up and they were killed in cold blood. And as at that time, when this incident happened, Ken Saro-Wiwa was already an activist, an environmental activist, trying to fight the cause, the just cause of the Ogoni people, because of the devastation that had happened in that land. Farmers were not going to farm again because of the massive oil spill and environmental degradation in that part of the country. Fish farming became non-existent as a result of water pollution. And so, with all its might and with people who share his vision, they were always agitating that they need to clean up Ogoni land. That these people, if you are getting your resources, the mainstay of Nigerian economy as at that time was oil. And up till now, we still rely heavily on oil exports to run our economy in this country. And so if you are tapping this kind of, you are tapping this resource from my backyard, I think the least you could do, even if you are not pampering me, is to ensure that I have a life to live. I need to live, I need to survive, I need to breathe. And that was the cause of Saro-Wiwa as at that time. But unfortunately, those guys were killed. And the unfortunate part of it again was Ken Saro-Wiwa was nowhere around Ogoni land when these people were killed. But they brought in this clause of a vicarious liability, that because he was the one that can be dubbed agitator-in-chief for the Ogoni people, and so he must have instigated that murder. And the next thing they did was to round them up, as well as those executed with him. and they went on this trial that didn't last long enough to provide evidence and defense for the accused, and unfortunately they were sentenced to death. And at that time, cases such as that does not have opportunity of redress through appeal court and Supreme Court, because it was handled by a tribunal, a military tribunal.
Yes.
And so unfortunately, Nigerians, eminent people across the world were begging Abacha. Wole Soyinka went with Clark, that novelist, and one other person. The three of them went to Abacha, and Abacha assured them that he was not going to kill Ken Saro-Wiwa along with others. And unfortunately, hours after they left Jordan Barracks, the report came. I was in the newsroom. I was then a senior sub-editor in Third Eye.
Okay.
In fact, for the first time, you know, by the nature of our trade, we look at killings, devastations, and all that from the point of excitement that you want to hit the headline. But that particular day, emotion ran high, and the newsroom was solemn, quiet, that you will hear a drop of pin in the newsroom. Everybody went back to his or her desk, and we were imagining, we were conjuring the spirit of the images of these people as they were dying through the hangman's news. And to make it worse, these people, according to report, which is credible, because the person that gave me and two other people a glimpse of how Saro-Wiwa was killed was there as part of government people to see to it that he was actually executed. It didn't take time for the other 6. Just once with the news, and they all died. But it took 3 times for Saro-Wiwa to die. And as a matter of fact, that person painted a picture. He was, and he's still alive. He painted a picture of how Saro-Wiwa died. And he said, at some point, Saro-Wiwa told them to leave him. That he was going to, and he invoked the spirit of Egbesu to release his soul, that he wants to go. That was when they were able to execute Saro-Wiwa.
Okay.
And to ensure that nobody could trace their dead bodies, they were doused with acid.
Okay.
And now, having gone through all that, that was 1990.
That was 1994.
That was 1994.
Yes, 1994.
And apart from another military regime headed by Absalam Abubakar, we've had 4 presidents.
Okay.
Only for us now to come around to say, you are pardoning.
Pardon.
How do you pardon somebody who you executed almost how many years ago? 31 years ago.
Okay. It's quite interesting, Dele, that you recall all of these. I was fresh from graduate school then. In that 1994, I started my career as a young postgraduate, postgraduate. I just finished my postgraduate studies then, and I started working in Port Harcourt as with an oil service company. So I understand everything that happened in Ogoni land. It's also coincided with the Commonwealth meeting in Auckland, in New Zealand. And his son, Ken Jr., had to travel all the way. But I mean, in the middle of the night, they just roused him to tell him that his father had been killed.
Okay.
So in all of this, what we are trying to examine, let's go to Port Harcourt, let's go to Ogoni land, and bring in our guest here, who is a son of the soil, and he's Comrade Celestine Akpobari. He's an indigenous Ogoni-born human and environmental rights defender. He's the former local government chairman of Kana local government area where that actual killing of the 4 actually took place. Yes. And he's a member of the governing council of HIREP. Now, HIREP is a multi a multi-organization between the community and the government, to handle the cleanup of Ogoni land. Good evening to you, Comrade Celestine Akpobari, and thanks for coming to Political Lens. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I appreciate your presence. Now, let's go straight into it. You have followed the conversation I've been discussing with Dele here about what happened like 31 years ago. Now, can you let us into what happened actually, what transpired almost 31 years ago that led to the brutal murder of Ogoni 4 and the subsequent arraignment, trial and hanging of Ken Saro-Wiwa and the other 8, put together what you people now call Ogoni 19. And 31 years after, the federal government, under the watch of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is saying, look, I have pardoned Ken Saro-Wiwa and the other Ogoni 9 and conferred national honors on them. And people are asking, shouldn't it be the other way around? What's your reaction? If you feel the pulse of your people in Ogoni land, how receptive are they to this pardon and posthumous conferment of posthumous awards to the Ogoni 9 and leaving the other 4 people out of it? Let's have your reaction, sir.
Okay, let me start from the beginning.
Okay.
What happened, how we got to where we are. Ken Saro-Wiwa was well traveled. He visited countries where oil was being exploited and used for the good of the society and community, which was the opposite of what we had in Ogoni and the Niger Delta. Ogoni people are predominantly fishermen and farmers.
Okay.
As at the time he led that struggle, the Ogoni people could no longer fish because of pollution, and we could no longer farm. Our farmlands were no longer yielding any rich harvest. In those days, you would just come back from school, throw a net, get some fishes to go and eat. Then you go back to the river to catch the one you will sell. You can go out more than 3 times a day to catch and go and sell without feeding the fishes. You can imagine the wealth that was in Ogoni. Imagine the proteinous seafood, the healthy people that we had. But all that were no more 30 years ago when Ken Saro-Wiwa started the struggle. So it now mobilized Ogoni people, sensitized them. I thought it was time to make demands, on the government. Our people were not in the oil companies. The government were not doing their routine checks on their pipeline and equipment in the area. Gas were being flared in very close proximity to human habitation, 24 hours a day, 247. And the soot emitted in the form of the way of flaring gas. When it falls like acid rain. If it touch your skin, if you touch everything, and that's why the UNEP report said that there is benzene, a cancer-causing carcinogen, in water that we take in Ogoni. And that the water we drink in Ogoni was 900 times worse than levels recommended by World Health Organization. And there is hydrocarbon in the air. And so it means that people that are in Ogoni are walking corpses. You see somebody in the morning, in the afternoon, the person is dead. Let's come to what happened today at the pulse of the Ogoni people. I can tell you that we are not happy. We are not happy. I've always said that when this country returned to democracy in 1999, only 2 issues were plaguing Nigeria, June 12 and the Ogoni issue. The June 12 matter has been settled, completely settled. The last one today was the coup d'etat Abiola. Apology has been offered to the family. I can tell you for sure that why Tinubu is doing all this is because they want to take Ogoni oil. There is no doubt about it. Because what we asked for was exoneration. You cannot pardon somebody that did not commit any crime. You use your car to hit me and take me to the hospital. Have you done me any good? You kill us. You call us murderers. You call us criminals. The victim. And now you say that you have pardoned the victim. I don't know where that happened. What I expected Tinubu to do was to set up a judicial commission of inquiry to do a review of that kangaroo trial of Ken Saro-Wiwa, to look at what happened and exonerate all of them. I also expected that people like Obi and all the rest that occupied Ogoni and murdered people in cold blood. Over 2,000 people were murdered. I expected that a panel will be set up to look at what happened and prosecute those that committed genocide in Ogoni. So trying to scratch the surface of the matter is neither here nor there. This was not how they handled the Yoruba issue. They must go to the root of this matter. They are just cutting the branches because of oil. Look at the Eleme One road. I led a protest on that road, 7 days, 7 nights. When Akpabio was the minister for Niger Delta, all what they wanted was to offer us bribe and not to do the road. But now, because they are talking about oil, it's like magic. You go now, come and see the work that they have done. So it is very difficult to wake up a person that is pretending to is not sincere with Ogoni. They are not sincere with the Niger Delta people. The cleanup that we are talking about, the government of Nigeria is yet to drop one kobo in that purse. The $1 billion take-off grant was paid by the oil companies.
Okay.
I expected that government would say, okay, we are bringing $150 billion.
Okay, comrade, I was coming to that, but I'm happy that you have brought us to that point. So if we take you as a microcosm of the Ogoni people, what you're saying is that the Ogoni people are not happy with this pardon, because some people are asking, shouldn't it be, the government asking Ogoni people to pardon them or to forgive them for so many years of criminalizing the Ogoni people and the environment? And now the president comes out to say, look, Ken, we have pardoned you. Pardon him for what? So, but in all of this, I'm happy that you also talked about the cleanup, and you also mentioned that out of the $1 billion that was earmarked for the cleanup of Ogoni land, government said that they were going to pay 100 million of that money, $100 million, which they have not paid up until this moment. But I also understand that the $660-something million, which was contributed by the joint venture operators, talk about Ajib, talk about Shell, NNPC, and all of that. About of those 666 million dollars, how much of it went into cleanup of Ogoni land? I ask this because we also understand that, look, more than 60% of the contracts awarded for the cleanup were handled by Ogoni sons and daughters. So what happened during the cleanup? What happened actually?
Well, if you tell me that Ogoni contractors up to 2% of that cleanup. See, what happened was that instead of hiring experts to come and do cleanup during the first contract award, they shared it among those within the villa, within the government, those that had companies that supplied toilet paper and stationaries to come. Those are the companies that got the job, and later hire experts to come and do it. By then, they have taken the money. So you can imagine the quality of job that will be done. It is now that we have this Professor Neni Barizabe, he's an expert. And this President Minister Bararabe is also a good man. After Mina Mohammed and Jibri Ibrahim, the ML of Nasrawa, I think this man is a very good man. And it is now that they are trying to put the record clean. They are trying to get experts, a square peg in square hole. And at this point, no percentage have been set aside for Ogoni contractors. But we have been making a case that, when you talk about remediation, it's all about opening the ground and closing it, opening the ground and closing it. So no Ogoni children that are born into the place, right. We don't know that $1 billion has come into their life.
Comrade, permit me to button at this moment. I think this cleanup is an ongoing process, right? Now, my question is this. You understand that was it in 2019 or so, after the UNEP study, and the vice president then, Yemi Oshibanjo, came in Ogoni land and launched that process. The current minister for finance was in charge of that process. You recall, Wale Edu was in charge of that process. And the question then, like what Oshibanjo said, that look, this is not just about cleanup, it's about healing the families and healing whatever happened in Ogoni land. As at that point, we are talking about 5-6 years ago, the information out there was that of the $600-something million that was put into that project, that a certain percentage of it, very high, of the jobs were given to Ogoni sons and daughters. Are you saying that that information is not correct?
It's not correct. And what I do was not in charge. What I do was only the chairman of the BOT, Board of Trustees, the people that were keeping the money.
Okay.
He was not the
he was in charge of keeping
council.
the money.
He was not the project coordinator. Yes, we have the BOT, Board of Trustees.
Made up of
where the money is kept.
The Board of Trustees was made up of who and who?
Wale do some Ogoni people and some Niger Delta communities.
Exactly.
The oil companies are also components.
All right.
Yeah, and that was in 2016. The project was launched in 2016.
Okay.
June. Yeah. So I can tell you that it is now that we are making a case that some Ogoni, very few people are having a part of the contract. I can tell you for free that it is not up to 2 contractors that are involved in a remediation job in High Prep. I can tell you for free. It's not like the oil wells in the Niger Delta. Of all the oil wells in the Niger Delta, 99% of the owners are not from Niger Delta, and that's it.
Okay, now let's look at how. Okay,
NDDC. You know about the NDDC.
I know about the
Same
NDDC.
with the NDDC.
Okay, now, comrade, let's look at how much responsibility the government, that's the federal government, has taken. You know, since that catastrophic incident that threw Ogoni into crisis. The present administration, that is Tinubu administration, has promised to build a university for Ogoni people. How much work do we see on ground there? Is it on paper? Have they started the declaring of the sites and what? How much work is on ground? Can you let us understand all of that?
What's happened apart from that pronouncement? The next thing that has happened was the governor of Rivers State, Simfu, has donated one of the secondary schools that are made to take off campus. After he made that donation, I've not seen even a security man at the gate, not to talk about it. Nothing has happened. We are waiting for them to start, but nobody should think that giving out the university that you have done a big thing. Bishop Oyedepo has two. University are assigned to people in their girlfriends. They have university. University is everywhere, so it's not a big deal. Say you cite one in Ogoni. Is that a big deal? It's not a big deal now. There are university everywhere.
Okay, so now what is the Ogoni people? How receptive are they to oil companies? You know, coming back for oil prospecting and drilling in Ogoni land. How receptive are they in the face of everything that is happening? How soon do you think that oil companies can come back to Ogoni land?
You know that poverty has been weaponized.
Okay.
That is one. Every person is hungry. And they think that if oil resume operation, oil companies resume operation are going that they will make money. But that is a lie because they took oil for 30 years and nothing happened. And they are still taking oil in all the Niger Delta communities. And there is no change. Nothing has happened. So young people who were born in 1995 when Ken Saro-Wiwa was murdered, they are about 10. They don't know anything about their struggle. They don't know what we went through. They watch movies and see big houses and girls, and so they need money. These are the people, but there is a very sharp division in Ogoni. There are some people that say no, that you must address the legitimate demands of Ogoni people as enshrined in the Ogoni Bill of Rights. There are people that are like people like us are saying that you must exonerate Ken Saro-Wiwa, you must settle all that. And you cannot just come and say because of oil you remember Ogoni. So if there was no oil, you won't remember Ogoni.
As far as you are concerned, the problem of the Ogoni land with regard to the oil business with prospecting oil, it's not over yet, because if the oil companies come back and, as you said, that there is a sharp divide, there might just be bedlam again in Ogoni land. Is that what you are suggesting, sir?
There will be a very big problem, I can tell you, because those of us who still believe that it should not happen we are in the majority.
So what do you think is
And
the
I
way
can
forward
tell you-
now? What do you think is the way forward? How do you think that between the government and Ogoni people that this problem can be resolved? You belong to the Governing Council of High Rep. What propositions have you made to the government? And do you think that they are workable? Let us just know.
Government need to be sincere with Ogoni people. You can't just come because you want to take oil. Issue. They have to come down to do proper healing. Look at these issues. What happened? What are the real demands of the people? What do we want? This cleanup, as I'm telling you, the 100 million you are talking about, that the government, it's not the government, it's the refineries that pump their waste into our river. I say the government of Nigeria is yet to contribute 1 kobo to that cleanup. Government should come and tell us we are putting $150 billion into this cleanup. And again, Ogoni cannot be clean until Niger Delta is clean. What step are the government taking to conduct assessment, environmental audit in the whole of Niger Delta? Yeah, they have to do that because those who polluted are already running away. Who will clean their mess? Who will clean up their mess? So all that has to happen. This issue of murder is state murder. What happened was state murder. The government need to own up on what they did.
All right, then. Thank you very
Over
much.
2,000 people were murdered in cold blood.
Exactly.
Those families have to be compensated. You have to compensate those families.
Much, Honorable Comrade Celestine Akpobari, for your very insightful contributions to this program. Please do stay with us because we want to come back to the studio here and we want to move away from Ogoni land and focus on national issue, which is Democracy Day. Today is 26 years of our democracy. Now, away from, you understand what is going on in Ogoni land. It's like the healing process is not yet completed. So there's no closure to what happened.
It has not even started.
It has not even started, based on what the comrade said.
Yes.
Now, and incidentally, he's a member of the governing board of High Rep. High Rep is the organization that is in charge of the cleanup process in Ogoni land. But like I said, let's come back to our Fourth Republic. Now, how much progress do you think we have made in building a democracy that we can bequeath to the next generation of Nigerians? If you look at, you've been part of it for the past 26 years. So how much progress do you think we have made?
Not as a player, but as an onlooker.
But as a Nigerian too, that contributed
Yes.
one way or the other.
Or somehow, at least we were in the trenches at some point, and we also partook in protests and all that to ensure that we achieve democracy in our lifetime. Yeah, to some extent. Except we want to be economical with the truth. The worst of democracy cannot be equated to a military regime. Military regime is such that whoever is the president has the either Armed Forces Ruling Council, either Provisional Ruling Council, whatever they call themselves, you know, it's just, they are just there as advisors. It's a winner takes all. There is no room for checks and balances. I mean, if you understand the regimental nature of the military, where the person that is higher in rank to you, you dare not question. It's gross insubordination, and it can even lead to dire consequences beyond what we imagine. But today, we have three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary.
Okay.
Unlike then, that even a president or head of state, whatever it's called, can wake up from the wrong side of his bed and say, I'm promulgating certain decrees that will ask the jurisdiction of the judiciary, such that you cannot even take them to court over certain things. But today, we may not have gotten it right as we expect, but at least it's a shift from those days.
More like a work in progress.
Yes, so it's a shift from those days where you have authoritarian rulership that can do whatever he fancies, and you can only talk. even when, for instance, look at Decree 4 and Decree 2 of those days. Decree 4 caught up with some journalists that they were dealt with, you know, and up to today, I'm even surprised that the likes of Chris Imolibe, Awotusin, that died in Liberia, and the likes of Bagauda Kato, was given OON with that sacrifice. What has Kunle Ajibade done to merit CON that Bagauda shouldn't have merited?
I was coming to the award of national honor.
You know,
so let's stay with the.
For me, it's still work in progress, but I think that whatever it is, except for those who didn't witness firsthand what happened during the military era,
okay.
we
Now,
want to say that we have not achieved any mileage at all.
Okay. Now, it depends on how much that mileage is.
Yes.
If you sample the opinion of Nigerians, or let me ask you now, between a military rule and a democracy, in terms of delivery of infrastructure and economic stability, which of these two governments do you think have done more for Nigerians?
Well, I would, when you look at the timelines,
okay,
you know, the military ruler, the longest serving military ruler today in Nigeria is Gowon.
Okay.
Who spent 9 years.
9 years, right.
You know, and after that, you have IBB.
IBB, yes.
After IBB, you have Abacha. And then after Abacha,
that's about
maybe Buhari.
Okay, Buhari did 12 months.
More than 12 months. More than 12 months.
About 13 months.
And then Absalam Abubakar, you know. But then, Murtala did how many months? Few months. Less than 6 months. Okay. You know. So, but then, if you look at democracy, the average...
No, and we are not looking at democracy now. We are looking at what democracy offers.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is infrastructure and economic stability.
That's what I'm saying, that we have to also factor the timelines.
Exactly. Okay.
You understand? For instance, if IBB, having spent 8 years, was able to do Third Mainland Bridge, relocate
the federal capital from
to
Lagos
Abuja, you know, build monuments and all of that. And then you have a civilian regime that spent 8 years that couldn't match the infrastructure built by the military president. Then you know that the military.
Is it just 8 years?
I mean, comparatively, 8 years of Babangida. Let's take it to 8 years of probably Buhari as a civilian president, or 8 years of Obasanjo as a civilian president. At least you can begin to do peer review amongst these three. You understand what I'm saying? So technically, the military has fared better, and I think for some reasons, one of which was that there was not much overhead. In terms of you have 109 senators, you have 360 something House of Assembly member, House of Reps member, ministers, and all that. So they were able to save some money to do some of these projects. And then you don't have to go through a lot of process to be able to get your approval for project execution. So that may have influenced how much they were able to drive. Okay. You understand?
You know, because when Nigerians calculate all of these things, they see if you name all the national monuments we have, like Festac, the National Arts Theatre, if you go to Orile Igamu Apapa, all those flyovers you see crisscross, all those corners were built by the military.
They were the military.
They moved the capital from here to, in fact, they built
Abuja. They built Abuja. The military built
the Third Mainland Bridge and all of that. And even under Abacha, there was economic stability. So when Nigerians question the viability of democracy, these are the things that they are looking at. But nothing equates to people's freedom. Now let's look at the president also conferred national honors on other Nigerians, as we reeled out. Nigerians are asking, what is all of these people? What have they done to merit these national honors? And we always say, like, our heroes. And people are asking, if Nigeria had all these heroes, why are we in this situation? So what is the value of these national honors?
You see, over the years, you have seen people that have the integrity mantra, you know, that have rejected some of these awards in the past. I'm even surprised that Tinubu is offering GCON to Wole Soyinka.
And we've not heard anything.
And I mean, I've not seen, apart from literary exploits, and then occasional intervention in the public life of Nigeria and Nigerians. For me, that is too high of an award for somebody like Wole Soyinka. And then a posthumous award to Kudirat Abiola, would that be enough to assuage the daughters and the family and all that? No. What monument have you named after Kudirat Abiola?
Okay.
Because she was an amazing, you know, and yes, you can give it to some of these. Particularly, I was wondering that beyond this award, Humphrey Omosu deserves more than posthumous award.
Okay.
And because if not for the insistence of, because I look at motivation behind action, not just the action.
Action itself.
Yes, the action is Abiola won and you denied him. But somebody laid the process culminating is in the election of Abiola, which was annulled. Okay. And that is the person of Humphrey Omosu. And his level of ingenuity, commitment, resilience, and bravery, in spite of odds, were enough for him to have a national monument named after him.
Okay.
If you name it after him, you are not doing him any good. You are only sending the right signals to those who are going to be part of the learning process of history, that if I do this, I will be remembered even if I die. Then you know you are dying for a just cause.
For a just cause. Okay, let's go back to Port Harcourt and get the final thoughts of Honorable Comrade Celestine Akpobere. Comrade, you are in Port Harcourt there. Can you let us understand how Riverians are feeling about the 26 years of democracy, especially, you know, given the fact that under this democracy, they are not even enjoying it because it's more like they are under a sole administrator, a military sole administrator. What's the situation like in Port Harcourt? What's the pulse of the people? Can you help us understand all of that, sir?
Well, there have been shootings in some part of Port Harcourt, from what I heard. We are not happy as a people because Rivers, we were expecting that that anyhow it is, that the emergency rule will be terminated today in that democracy speech. In fact, there have been celebrations in some quarters about 2-3 days now, thinking that would happen. It didn't happen. So it looked like as if people are mourning. But that is truth. That's the truth. Because I mean, it is sad that you see an outsider that is not from Rivers State coming to siphon the wealth of Rivers people. For the past 2 years of this democracy, the governor that was elected had not settled down to do anything. This was Port Harcourt that was, you know, almost at par with Lagos.
Okay.
So, I mean, who will be happy with that? This state is not in a happy mood at all.
All right, the state is not in a happy mood. So the people that are celebrating democracy, they just understand that the people in Rivers State are not happy because of what is going on there. Oh, well, this is where we have to anchor this conversation. We've been speaking with Mr. Dele Fanimo here from our Lagos studio. Dele is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. We also had Comrade Celestine Akpobere, who is an Ogoni-born person, and he's also a political affairs analyst and activist. Gentlemen, we appreciate your presence and thanks for coming to Political Lens. Dele, thank you very much.
It's always my pleasure.
Honorable Celestine, thank you very much for being on Political Lens. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, now I hope that we can do this some other time to assess what is going on in Port Harcourt and other parts of Rivers State. Thank you very much. Now, on behalf of the backroom staff, the technical director, the ingest manager, sound engineer, and the bus engineer, I am Chukwu Maokoro. Up next is Issues with Jerry Aporoha. Stay with us and don't go away.